The injury news continues to increase in its confusion, variety, and reliability as Manchester City face a number of questions ahead of the massive game this weekend. We've got some transfer news to discuss as well, and Gareth Southgate has spoken again about Mr. Benjamin White. This is the Arsenal News Show. Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of what is the Arsenal News Show, joining you every single morning at 8 a.m. UK time. Thank you as always for joining me and making this a part of your morning routines. It is very much appreciated. I hope you've had a fantastic week so far. It's Wednesday. It feels like Friday to me. Hold on. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. And we're back. The microphone does it again. It does it again. Oh, it's so irritating. So annoying. I wish I just had the cognizant ability to check my microphone before starting these shows. I really do. Exactly, Nelson. Every damn time. Every time. It's like, why doesn't it, if you plug a microphone in, it should just automatically select that microphone. Why is it asking me to do extra jobs? And it's Thursday as well. It's not even Wednesday. Oh my goodness, what a disaster. Goodness gracious. Yeah, Adam says, make a checklist. I need to put it on the wall ahead of me, like check microphone. Is your charger? Yes. Is the charger plugged in? Are you cognizant? I can't use that word. I can't. Why am I even trying to use these words? It's 8 a.m. in the morning. Good morning to Thursday, not Wednesday. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me and making this a part of your morning routines. It's very much appreciated. I hope you had a fantastic week so far and that you're ready for a clearly coherent, mentally capable person to run you through all today's stories. Good morning to A1, to James, to AFC Till I Die, Kaiser, Blackshine, Damien, Martin, Carlton, Stephen, Rowan, other Martin, Shari. We've got Manning, Lee, Steve, Matt G, Amesy. We've got Stephen and other Stevie and Mr. Ree and Glenn. We've got Babatundi. We've got Rob and John. Thank you to all of you for tuning in. It is hugely appreciated. Let's go to today's story, shall we? Jorginho, his agent, has been speaking, has been talking about the fact that obviously whilst contract talks and whilst discussions over the Italian's future continue to be underway, he has not ruled out the possibility of the player leaving Arsenal during the upcoming summer transfer window. When he was asked about the situation, he told Radio Sportiva, he says, "We will discuss with Arsenal about his contract being due to expire in June. It's our priority. Arsenal have a fantastic group and we will see if they need him for next season. Return to Italy? Why not? One day, maybe." So the door seems still to be very much open for Jorginho to move on, if indeed they seem to deem that the right pathway. Arsenal do have an option in this contract to extend by another year, but there are said to be discussions regarding kind of a 1+1 extension to his current deal. So yet we could see him extend even further beyond the extent of his current contract with the club. Meanwhile, Harry Kane has returned to action once again with Bayern Munich. He's been involved in training and will, of course, most likely be available for the game against Arsenal in the Champions League. I think we all expected that was going to be the case. But here again, we see a player that we thought might or may not be available because of his unavailability for England. But he is returned. He is back and he is ready to take on Arsenal. Surprise, surprise. Meanwhile, though, there is plenty of questions galore at the moment about the England setup. But what there is not so many questions about is the injuries that have been suffered on duty with the England national team. We've seen Ben White, of course, not attend and very likely to be ready and available and fit again. And whilst he's been resting with Arsenal, Kyle Walker and John Stones have been affected. With Switzerland, Manuel Akanji has been affected, and with Portugal, Mateus Nunes has been affected. It's not been a particularly great window. I suppose you can call it an international window if you like, but I think it's more so I think it's a period in which Man City are going to look at this and think, goodness me, this has been an absolute nightmare. And because of that, Walker's injury is said to be perhaps more serious than first thought. We heard a couple of days ago that there were suggestions that Kyle Walker's injury wasn't so serious and that he was in with a chance of playing. That seems to have changed quite significantly in the last couple of days. And now, supposedly, there's like a real assurance that Walker will not be involved. And instead, they're kind of focusing on the Champions League return for him instead. John Stones, as well, is facing a very tough race to be fit. Akanji, we're not 100% sure about him. He is a doubt for the game after pulling out of Switzerland duty. Mateus Nunes as well, also a doubt. But Stones and Walker, it seems, could be very much out of the race for the game against Arsenal. We'll continue to update you on these stories. But obviously, it would be an absolutely massive, and I mean massive, blow to Manchester City to lose players of that caliber, because of course, as we know that these two players in particular have been really key to the way in which they've played their games this season, their passing, their strategy, their style, their philosophy, everything that has come from them this season has really gone through both of those players from the back. And defensively, we know that Kyle Walker can keep up with some of the best players on the planet, like Vinicius Jr., for instance, and of course, Gabriel Martinelli. We're still unsure about whether or not Martinelli is going to be available for the game against Manchester City either. But of course, without Kyle Walker, that is a huge, huge blow to Manchester City. And so we'll keep you, as I say, updated on that one and wait to see if there's any more updates in the coming days. Now, the latest on Ben White after Gareth Southgate was asked yet again about the situation. He says, it's really for Ben White now. The door is open for us. I respected the situation as Arsenal have contacted us. I felt I should back away from it a little bit, but I've always left the door open. I was keen to bring him in this camp. So we hear there from Gareth Southgate, the England manager, that the door remains open. That apparently Ben White is open, or rather the door and, the opportunity to rejoin Arsenal. I'm having a nightmare this morning. Rejoin England is there. What I can't get my head around is that the previous press conference we heard was where he categorically said that there was no issue with Steve Holland. That same day, The Athletic did an article in which we saw the situation kind of explained to us. We heard it explained to us in clarity, absolute clarity. And I think that because of that, I find myself again falling on the side of Ben White, as you'd expect. Is hardly a surprise, because if you're hearing things like there's no issue with Steve Holland, and then you're hearing and for a fact that there is an issue and there has been an issue because it's been allegedly reported, that it just seems like someone's not saying the full truth. Ben White's been completely silent across this whole situation, which I absolutely respect. Whether he gets asked about it in an interview, we'll wait and see how he responds to it. But it's just a situation that I find myself getting increasingly frustrated with, the back and forths, and also the fact that there's something not being said that needs to be said. Now, of course, what does need to be said is the fantastic protection that NordVPN can give you whilst you are surfing the net. It is a fantastic service, of course, provides safety and security and the protection from trackers and those pesky peeping Todd Bowleys that are looking at the transfer targets that you quite like Arsenal to sign. It gives you the superpower of changing geolocation on your laptop, your mobile, or indeed your phone as well. Did I say laptop and mobile? I think tablet's the last one, isn't it? But either way, it's a brilliant service for any of your digital devices. If you're not happy with the service for whatever reason, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. But that money is significantly reduced in your expenditure because of using the code nordvpn.com/Gooner, getting yourself a significant discount off a 1 or a 2-year plan. And you get 3 months extra with a 1-year deal and 4 months extra with a 2-year deal, as well. go to the link in the description, go to nordvpn.com/Gooner and get yourself this significant discount. And of course, a massive thank you once again to Nord for sponsoring the channel. And of course, I need to continue to tell you about football prizes. There is an amazing prize available for you to get your teeth sunk into, and that is a signed and framed, not William Saliba shirt, but a signed and framed brand new prize for us to talk about. And that is, of course, the Dennis Bergkamp prize, which you can now get your hands on for $2.95 a ticket. I can tell you that of the 399 tickets that were available in just one day, half have gone. Half have gone. So you got to be quick. This one's going fast, it seems. But you can get yourself a signed and framed Dennis Bergkamp shirt with a built-in LED TV showing all about our fantastic Dutchman, iconic, legendary figure, and his highlights of the club, including some instant win prizes as well. So please do go and have a look at that. Right, part 2 coming up right after this. Right. I'm having a cleanse now. I feel like I just need to, just shake it out, shake all the horrible morning feels that have had me just messing up so much of this show. I can only apologize. I haven't even told you to like the video yet. I haven't told you to subscribe. I am the worst Arsenal content creator this morning that there ever could be. If you could drop a like and helping us to get to 1K every single day, I'd appreciate that. That'd be great. I don't really deserve it today, but we want to keep the challenge going, of course. So don't do it because I deserve it. Do it because you deserve it. You deserve for me not to ruin our challenge, to ruin our run of hitting 1K every single day. You absolutely reserve the right to not like this video because, quite frankly, my presenting skills this morning have gone in the toilet, have been utterly and entirely dreadful. You may have noticed that I vamped a little bit during that Walker Stones bit. That was because I was making a slide at the same time that I was talking about Ben White. Because despite being in the headline of the video, which, by the way, uses a lowercase b, I mean, imagine if Ben saw that, or rather Benjamin, he'd have an aneurysm if he saw me using a lowercase b to use in his name. Horrific. That'll be changed immediately after the show is done. This has been the most cataclysmic, poorly constructed, and worstly, and I'm going to use that word because it doesn't exist, how we are, worstly presented show this has ever been. It's like Ten Hag at Manchester United. Right, the process. Let's go into your question, shall we? Hypothetically, if Odegaard won 3 league titles and a Champions League at Arsenal, would he be mentioned with Henry and Bergkamp, or does he need to do more? I mean, we'd have to wait for it to happen, mate. It's impossible to answer that question. There's no way of knowing if a player like Odegaard could ever be, mentioned amongst those players if he won those things without seeing it actually happen. Because we don't know how many goals he scored. We don't know how he's contributed to those achievements. We don't know. So, yeah, we'd have to wait and find out before it happened. It's impossible to know the answer to that question. Let's go to Fuad. Says, did somebody mention Steve Holland when they asked the question to Southgate, or did he mention his name unsolicitedly? I mean, during the press conference before the international break, he brought him up of his own accord. So yeah, I mean, go back and listen to the actual press conference itself. You can get the full, experience of that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he brought it up of his own accord. Clive says, Tom, I would like to see Partey and Rice in that Man City game to control the midfield. And that's so annoying. Sometimes a tab just opens. I'd like to see Partey and Rice in that Man City game to control the midfield, to control the game. You can't say Partey is rash when he's been trained or not ready, maybe when he's been trained for 2 weeks. What's the latest on the injury? Clive, I'm Jorginho all the way, mate. I mean, Partey's not started a game for us in months. I think it'd be mad to start Partey in this game over Jorginho. You'd have to beat Rusty. Maybe that's what you meant. I just can't foresee a world in which Jorginho doesn't start over Partey. It would make no sense to use a player. And Jorginho's been brilliant. He was world class against Liverpool in a game in which we had to win, and we did. He was brilliant again against Porto. We need Jorginho in this game. There's no way Arsenal should be starting Partey in this fixture over Jorginho. Not a chance. No way. Tizer says, morning, Tom. Would you start Jorginho or Partey and Rice against City this weekend, or will you go all out to win? I mean, absolutely, I'm using Rice, Jorginho, and Odegaard. Why on earth would we drop Odegaard either? Well, I thought I was having a weird one this morning. I'm seeing people say we shouldn't start Jorginho. Tizer's asking me if we would drop Odegaard. What's going on? Is my ineptitude to host a show bleeding into the minds of people asking questions this morning, affecting our common sense? It's Jorginho, Rice, and Odegaard. And there is no debate. There's no debate about the midfield this weekend. It's not a discussion. It's just not. So, yeah, absolutely no chance. John says, if let's say we are up by 6, would you give Nwaneri a few minutes? Yes, John. If we're up by 6 at the Etihad, we can chuck a couple of kids up. Yes, we can absolutely do that. Tom says starting Partey right now would be negligent. I have to agree. Jonathan says there is players that help qualify for Champions League, help you to challenge for a league and help you become contenders. And there are some that help you win the league. After this long period without a Leafy, it would be very, very what, Jonathan? We run out of characters for your comment. It would be very special, here we go, to win a league right now and get the extra points. I think there are players, of course, that take you through all of those things. I think there are players, you think about Gabriel, who's come in at the start of Arteta's project, was his first investment, real investment as a manager. And he's been through the whole thing, taking us from, a team that finished 8th to a team that is now competing for titles in back-to-back seasons. So I think there's players that go through. John says, no debate, Tom. Bring on Partey and Tommy towards the end of the match at the Emirates, and we all know how that ended. Score prediction, please. Indeed, John, and you'll have to wait for our preview show for a score prediction. Or to be fair, you can go back and watch you can go back and watch our show we did with Laura and Umar, in which we did do predictions. Alex, thank you so much for the kind donation. He's dropped another one. Says, please collab with Hugh Wizzy again, bro. I mean, I'd love to collab with Hugh. I had a chat with Hugh the other day. I saw him return to the world of YouTube and social media, and I sent him a nice message welcoming him back. I really need to work on my words this morning. I'd love to do a show with you. I'll tell you what you should do. Just drop a message to him and be like, you should do a show with Tom again. And maybe we'll make it happen. Anna Seymour says, lol, Tom, when you were ranting about your poor show skills today, I literally read your head as Tom can't on media. Yes, that's my handle this morning. But no problem. Having an off day. This is what makes us appreciate the good ones. Indeed, we're human. We're all human. We all have off days, and today for me is one of my off days. Goodness, at least I've got it plugged in. At least I've got the laptop plugged in this time. That's a plus. That's growth. That's improvement. You can't have it all, right? You need 3 things in this world to do this. You need your equipment, so your camera, your laptop, your microphone, etc. You need, I said 3. I feel like you just need 2, and you just need yourself. And either one of those things fails for me usually. Today, it was both. I failed and this failed as well. Can we please not spam the chat box? Thank you very much. Mark is also spamming the chat box as well. Please don't spam the chat with messages. It just gets you banned. Ajmal says, given the reports coming every day about City players being doubts for our game, we might as well see reports in the coming days saying Pep is doubtful for the game as well. Yes, Pep's pulled his hamstring. Not going to be available. Walter says, morning, Tom. A bit off topic, but any news on Kevin Campbell? Last I heard, he was sadly in hospital having a hard time. He is returning to Highbury squad, I think, on Monday. So, yes, you'll be able to see Kev Campbell on the Highbury squad, I believe, on Monday. I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. I know I retweeted it to my feed. So let me just have a quick check, because I definitely did. Yes, I'll read you the tweet from Highbury Squad's announcement. We thought this day would never come. Someone had other plans. We're beyond excited to share that Super Kevin Campbell returns to Squad Central on Monday. A true warrior, Kevin's battled back and crushed life's challenge the same way as he destroyed the defenders that he faced. At ease. Indeed, Kev is back on Monday on the squad. So fantastic news that Kev is indeed returning to action. Tyson says, Tom, have you heard anything from your connections, which backs up the reports this week that Edu had opened informal discussions with Viktor Osimhen? Charles Watts, who is very, very well connected, already reported this story. And I have absolutely no doubt in my mind to reported the story that he opened talks last summer, I should point out. That's what Charles was saying. It was last summer there were talks. I don't know about new talks personally. All I know is that, and as I reported yesterday for FL, is that Viktor Gyokeres is indeed on the list. So if there was ever any type of not concern, but doubt in people's minds that Gyokeres was not the player that Arsenal were looking at, I can tell you very confidently that Gyokeres is indeed one of the players that Arsenal are looking at for the summer, alongside a host of top young forwards, because that is the bracket, which effectively rules out Ivan Toney. So sorry, guys, to pee on your cornflakes, but there's no Ivan Toney. No Ivan Toney this summer. Not happening, to my understanding. Gage says, what do you think of the Rice and Onana picture? I've seen this story before. Onana confirmed. I think it's a great picture. I think it shows kind of the size, if you like, of Onana. He's an imposing figure, I think. And certainly with a quality player on top of that as well. Brilliant ability. I'm not sure whether or not he's of the level yet. But I think he's certainly got the potential. I think I'd rather go for some other players to Onana, but I appreciate him as a player and his abilities. Kazang says 8 wins in a row, most goals scored, least goals conceded, undefeated against the top 5, battering the bottom table clubs. We are actually the favourites rather than the underdogs going into this game. I mean, not according to the bookies. But certainly according to plenty of Arsenal fans, I think they would agree with you. Maximir says, hi, Tom. Could you run a quick update on which of our players played this international break and how many minutes that they were involved in? Gives us an idea on how fresh our players are. It's almost as if you knew I wrote an entire article doing exactly that. So with pleasure, I will give you all of the details of that. If you want to read more details about how those minutes are broken down, you can go and read my piece on football.london. But yes, Jakub Kiwior played 210 minutes for Poland. Declan Rice played 180 minutes for England. Karl Hein played 180 minutes for Estonia. Martin Odegaard played 165 minutes for Norway. Kai Havertz, 153 for Germany. Trossard, 105 for Belgium. Zinchenko, 102 for Ukraine. Jorginho, 92 for Italy. Saliba, 90 plus for France. David Raya, 45 plus for Spain. And Ramsdale played 0 minutes whatsoever for England. So there you go. All of it. And that's the information on that. We've got a lot of players that didn't play any minutes, of course. We've got some players that are trying to recover from injury, like Saka, Martinelli, and Magalhaes. But we're waiting for updates on them. And we'll hear from Arteta tomorrow in his press conference. Lee says, I feel the only way back for Wyatt is to go back to the England fold is for a change in management and coaches. The damage has already been done. I do tend to agree, Lee. And I think that unless White has a real change of heart on the situation, I don't think he will go back to England unless there is a change of manager. Steve says, hi, Tom. If you had to pick one, would you pick a win on Sunday or going through to the semi-final of the Champions League? I'd pick a win on Sunday, mate, Steve, without a shadow of a doubt. Win on Sunday, please. Ronald says, Alphonso Davies has 1 year left on his contract. Is he an option or is he going to Madrid? I believe he's going to Madrid. From the sounds of things, it looks like he's going to be going to Real Madrid in the summer. Damien says, why is no one talking about Jakub Kiwior playing time but crying about Rice? Kiwior has played more minutes because it's Rice. That's what we do, Damien. It's Rice. He's arguably our most important player. So if he plays the most minutes and starts needlessly, and I also think about it as Kiwior was playing games that actually meant something. Like Poland are obviously trying to qualify for the European Championships. And because of that, Rice was just playing friendlies. So I think there's more outrage about the fact that Rice was playing friendlies to the extent that he was playing them, whereas Jakub Kiwior was actually playing games where they needed him to play the full game to help them qualify, which they did, of course, for the European Championships. Lai says, Arsenal's run-in is really tough. I'm pessimistic and I do not want to hear that we bottled the league again. It made me miserable. Look, I think that if Arsenal win on Sunday, the expectation is we have to win the league. I think if we win on Sunday, it's Arsenal's to lose, personally. That's how I look at it. I think Arsenal put themselves into a really strong position. 4 points clear of City. Probably still, level very much with Liverpool. You'd expect them to beat Brighton. But But for me, I think Arsenal should be winning the league. If you've beaten Man City twice, if you've beaten Liverpool and drawn with them, you should be winning the league. That's just my view. So people may not like that. People may not like me putting pressure on it, but I think we would have certainly. Look, I can already see it. Micah says unnecessary rhetoric, Tom, and I get it. People aren't going to like that view. People aren't going to like it at all. I absolutely get it, and I understand that you won't like that. But if you're asking me if Man City lose to us on Sunday, if Arsenal should be expected to then win the league, I'd say yes. Because every single team that we play after Man City, we should beat. And if we do that, we will win the league, unless there is a massive goal difference swing. So for me, that's just where I'm at. That's just what I don't agree with this, Mikey. I don't think it's poor sports psychology at all. The players aren't watching this. I wouldn't say it if I was manager, mate. I'm not the manager. That's the mistake you're making. You're confusing me with Mikel Arteta. I'm just a fan talking about Arsenal, giving my opinion. I'm not the manager. So that's the mistake that you've made there. Luke says, I think Arsenal fans do this to themselves. You have to beat these teams to win the league, no matter who they are. This is why Arsenal gets bantered. I mean, fair enough. But again, this season, if you play Man City and you think, I think Man City ultimately are a team that are my favourites for the league, still are my favourites going into this weekend. And I think that they should win the league, Man City, with their resources, with their form, with their manager, with everything that they have going for them. They should win the league every single season without question. But once Arsenal beat them twice, and once Arsenal beat Liverpool, and once Arsenal draw against Liverpool, it changes things with 9 games to go. Be it Luton, I think we should win. Be it Villa, I think we should win. Be it Tottenham, I think we should win. Be it United, I think we should win. Be it Chelsea, I think we should win. I think we should win those games. And so I think we put ourselves in a position where Arsenal should win the league at that point. I have to be honest. You ask for my opinion, I give my opinion. You can call it poor sports psychology. It's not, because I'm not the manager. But that's just my view. Dirk says people need to be patient with the squad. Remember, we can start Partey and Rice against Munich. There's still big games to come. Absolutely. And then Simon says, Tom, let's try that again. Tom, if we were to win both the league and the Champions League, knock on wood, who'd be the players that you wish to score the winning goals in each competition? I have fairy tale stories for Smith Rowe and Saka. I mean, yeah, that'd be great. Havertz, I think, would be an amazing one just because of all the sticky sort. Declan Rice, just to see the celebration would be amazing. And of course, maybe William Saliba as well. That'd be pretty cool. His celebrations go off the hook. So yeah, that'd be amazing. Nelson says Deschamps has earned the right to say whatever he wants. He has quietly been one of the best coaches in world football. I have my reservations about Didier Deschamps. I know he's won a World Cup, but quite frankly, I think anyone with that France squad should have, in some ways. I have my issues with Didier Deschamps. I don't know why. There's something I just don't quite get about that France team. They've won a World Cup, and I still think they should have won the last World Cup as well. So yeah, there's something, and I don't think necessarily everyone's that keen on Deschamps either. Markerman says it's funny how we're not expected to challenge in pre-season, and yet now we'll have bottled it if we don't. Look, again, I'm not saying we'd have bottled. Well, I don't think we have bottled it if we win on Sunday and then don't win the league. Neither will I be very angry at Mikel Arteta. I won't be angry at Arteta at all. But it's just I will be very disappointed. I'd be very disappointed if we didn't win the league, if we beat Man City twice and beat Liverpool once and draw with them once. I don't think that's unfair. I think you'd really struggle to argue against that point of being really disappointed. Are you telling me that you wouldn't be really disappointed if we win on Sunday and then still don't win the league? I think we've got a right to be really disappointed if we didn't do that. I think you've got an absolute right to be really disappointed, I really don't think that's too bad. I don't think that's too bad of a view whatsoever. So I'm surprised at the pushback on that. But let me know your thoughts in the chat box. And Mikey, I'm not saying we're entitled to it. That's not. Again, I think you're making another mistake and you're misinterpreting what I'm saying. I'm saying that there's a difference between should win the league in terms of kind of how we're viewing it with 9 games to go, and being entitled to win the league. I think they're different things. I think you're looking at it in terms of the odds of Arsenal with the games that they've got left, the position they're in the league, and who they've got left to play. And you say, yeah, Arsenal probably should win the league from there. They haven't earned it yet because they've still got to do it. But you've put yourself into a position where if ultimately if ultimately you're in an area where you have 9 games to go, you've beaten your rivals, never lost them. In the case of City twice, I just don't think that it's that wild of a view. I really don't. DS says, Tom, we will be very disappointed if we don't win the league after beating City on Sunday. Indeed. Luke says, I think, Tom, the trigger word is bottled. I think that for a lot of people is a bit of a trigger word. I guess it depends, It depends on how it happens. Like last season, I don't think Arsenal bottled the league because of ultimately the factors which contributed to it. And at the moment, that could also happen this season. We could beat Man City and have a massive injury crisis in the last 9 games. And then obviously that changes things. But it depends upon the context. And that's really important. Andrew says, Tom, there are people who might want to derail our focus on Man City. So they suggest that Jorginho should be left out for Partey. I don't think that's true. I think we're reading too much into it. I think you guys put way too much weight on what this channel does, to be honest. I really do. Just as someone who knows things, and I have my connections here and there, I think you put too much weight, way too much weight on what I say. I really do. Jay says, very soon, a lot of Liverpool players would be leaving when Klopp leaves. Which player would you go for? I'd go for Gakpo. I'm not sure. Gakpo's been a bit hit and miss, at Liverpool. He's recently dipped somewhat in fan view, I think. So, yeah. Hasadagain says, Tom, who are we targeting for the centre-back position? Is that centre-back, right centre-back, left centre-back, central centre-back? I think that I'd look to, if in terms of a defender, I look at the right side more as the area needing depth. I could be wrong with Timber coming back. But there's potentially, links to the likes of Yoral Hato maybe that's been talked about as well. Osmana Diamande has been talked about. Either of those two, I think, would be excellent pieces of business by Arsenal to do. Tom says, will anyone say that Liverpool bottled it if City win? It depends where Liverpool are, I suppose, come the end of the season. And Nate says, do we have an ETA on Timber's return? No, not really, not specifically. After the international break has always been what I've said. I said March at the very earliest, but April was always the most likely month, but it was always going to be in the earliest stage, March. I still laugh at those that said February and January. Some said January. My goodness gracious me. But yeah, no, it seems April probably will be when it will be now. Tizer says, last year I thought Arsenal going out of the Europa League damaged us by playing only 1 game a week, losing momentum. Do you think this will change playing once every 3 days? And will that impact us? I think we're going to have to learn to rotate. We're going to have to learn how to use minutes and manage minutes better. I think it's a lesson for Arteta this final run of the season. And there certainly really is something to be said about what we've not done in the past in that regard and how that needs to change for the future. Michael says, Tom, we still have the tougher matches left compared to City and the least experience. I'd be disappointed, but by no means can we say Arsenal should win it with Liverpool level on points. It's your view. It's your opinion. You're entitled to it. I'd personally think that from that position, Arsenal should be looking to win the league. I think they would have set themselves up. Unless there's kind of some major injury crisis, something ridiculous happens to suggest there was a reason outside of the fact that you've positioned yourself in the best possible way. It's there. But we haven't even done anything yet. We've got to still beat City on Sunday. We've got to beat them on Sunday first. That's the first task. We're getting too far ahead of ourselves, I think. We've got to focus on the next game. We might be talking about things very differently if we don't win this game. If we draw it, I still don't think it's a bad result. If we lose it, I just think we can't afford to lose this game. I really don't. I think if we don't lose it, it's as simple as that. Mikey says, again, really hammering this home, Mikey. I did hear you the first time. Says we don't deserve anything. We must earn it all. Again, not saying we've earned anything yet. And I think there's a difference. I just think you're making a mistake, Mikey, and you're not necessarily taking in what I'm saying. And says, starting Partey, who has been injured all through, is a fallacy because Jorginho has been fantastic playing with Rice. I mean, absolutely, Jorginho should start. Jorginho should start. It's not even a debate at this point. Alani says, I thought I totally missed the show. Alani, you may as well have, because I've been terrible. So, yeah, you've not missed too much, mate. You've not missed too much at all. Eve says, remember how badly Madrid struggled at the Etihad last year? We should try our best to get a draw. I think we should try our best to win it, personally. Mark said, if we win at City on Sunday, then that gives you more confidence to win the league. All the haters don't believe in Arsenal. As fans, we should have faith in our players, and we're better than last season. Yeah, agreed. There's no reason why you shouldn't be confident. After if you were to win that game, there's no reason why you can't have that confidence. You really can't. Lee says, whatever happens, it's great to be in this position. Who would have thought that we're where we are with the diabolical mess a few seasons ago? I think, where we've come from, there was always signs, There was always signs that we were going to be moving in this direction. Some people chose never to look at it. Some people chose to ignore it. Some people chose to ride the hype of negativity and benefit from it, and others were more patient. There was times where I lost mine. I lost my patience after Villarreal. I thought I didn't see a way forward after that. I really didn't see a way forwards. And thank goodness, that the club had more patience than I did. Was really, really in a down place after that, not being able to see the light through the trees, if you will. But thankfully, the club had more patience than me and a lot of others to stick with Arteta and stick with the process and the plan and the project and see what it could do. There were signs, though, all the way through. Whether or not I wanted him, I couldn't see a way forward after Villarreal. There were always signs that were there to point to the style of recruitment, the sorting out of the defence, the way in which we progressed the philosophy, the non-negotiables, the principles that he instilled, the reconnection with the fan base. All of these things, they were all happening through that period, even though it wasn't necessarily translating to stunningly good points hauls, But we surprised people. And that's ultimately led us to where we are today, which is really, really important. Thank you for listening. Alani says 1K likes. Yes, indeed. Please help us to get to 1K likes. I think today is going to be a real challenge. And I'm going to end today's show with yet another apology, just to say that today has been my poorest show. But you guys in the chat box have been on form, as you always are. You've lifted me up. You've lifted this show up. You've made it what it is. Tomorrow I'll be back. Tomorrow I'll be better. Do you know who really pays? Is the Gooner, because I'm jumping onto his channel in 20 minutes. Well, and I think we might be pre-recording it to go out later. But if there's anybody that wanted me on their channel, you would not want me on this morning. And Deluded Gooner is going to have that honor. So wish DG all the luck in the world, because he's currently got the least informed presenter of any channel out there at the moment. Right, let's round this up. Thank you so much for listening. We all appreciate your time, as always. Please do drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here with those notifications turned on so you never miss a show. Stay safe, stay well, stay happy and respectful. See, I can get through that end bit without a hitch. We're getting back. We're improving. But most of all, of course, as always, up the Arsenal.